What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Get Your Bell Rung Football Podcast. He is Kevin Reynolds. I am Bobby Wall, and we are here to talk all things football and hit you with some takes that might rattle you up a bit. On tonight's show, we will talk about the week that was in the NFL. We will talk about, Mr. Kevin's maybe favorite QB of all time, Joseph Flacco.
He's dream.
He coming to start for the Browns, and just how many teams could he start for in the NFL? Got some other news and notes. We'll break down the games and obviously give you our starts of the week. But Kevin, how you doing, my friend?
Oh, doing pretty well here, buddy. Final week of the regular season in my league of record, which is just about kaput, and final in the once and done, which is it's just so heart-wrenching and stressful. Even we're in two very different spots in it, but you've been in a good spot, bad spot, it's just heart-wrenching no matter where you are the final week, because you just don't know what to expect.
Mostly because that final week, you could go out if you throw out, a 75 or an 80, and the eight people behind you throw out big time rosters. You could be out. You could be in a nice position, and then all of a sudden, poof,
You
you're
could
gone.
lose a 70-point lead in a heartbeat.
Been there.
Yeah, you did learn that one the hard way last year.
I did. Kevin, I'm doing pretty good, man. This has been a really cool year for me. A lot of firsts. I know I talk about my son a lot, but we had another great father-son moment this past weekend. We went out, my family, we're hunters from West Virginia. I'm not, my family is, and I got to sit in a stand at our hunting camp. Sat in there with my son, 5 years old, made it about 2 hours before a big old buck came by. So we got our first deer together, and it was a pretty awesome moment for me.
Yeah, I saw a picture of it. Very good.
Yeah, I love that
I'm gonna
stuff,
get me
man.
some deer jerky, and I'll be even happier. I'm a
I
big
love being a
deer
dad.
jerky.
Is that the coolest thing or what? Being a dad?
I enjoy it. Yes, it's very different to care about. Well, if you're a good parent, that you care more about your child than yourself. Unfortunately, that's not always the case in the world, but I think in our cases we fit that mold.
100%. All right, sir. Let's get down and dirty with your boy, Mr. Flacco. I want to play a quick little game. Hopefully it's quick, called we'll just call it Would You Rather. Okay. Would you rather Joe Flacco or Zach Wilson?
Flacco, 100
Okay.
times out of 100.
Agreed. Joe Flacco or Jake Browning?
Joe Flacco 90 times out of 100.
I think so too.
So
Especially
Browning
give
didn't play
him,
bad the other night.
he did not, but I
Those
would prefer
weapons, I'd love
Flacco.
to see Flacco out there chucking 70-yard bombs.
Right. Right.
He
Joe
still got the arm. He can't move at all. He's a human
No.
statue, but
Oh
he's
yeah.
got the arm.
Joe Flacco or Bailey Zappi / Mac Jones?
Joe Flacco 110 times out of 100.
Joe Flacco or Mitch Trubisky?
That's when we start getting tricky. I'll still take Flacco, but not as
I
often.
I think so too, but at least 51 times out of 100,
Yeah,
right? Okay. Joe Flacco or CJ Beathard, who may get the
Flacco.
start for Jacksonville.
Flacco, no doubt.
Okay. Flacco or the stash?
Stash.
Yep, I think so too. Flacco or Will Levis?
Flacco. Maybe not in another year, but right now Levis
Okay,
isn't really showing me much.
I can buy that. Flacco or with Aiden O'Connell?
Oh, Flacco. That's that.
No.
I mean, you're
How
mostly
many?
listing all the teams that I wrote down.
Yeah, how many times would how many targets would Devontae Adams have if
He'd have a
Flacco was throwing
lot.
the
And
ball
it's
from the
not only
Bears?
that they'd be high value targets. He'd probably get at least 40 yards down the field. If he only gets
Yeah,
one, that's a lot of points.
right. Flacco or Tommy DeVito?
Flacco, 100%.
Flacco, yeah, Flacco or Josh Dobbs?
Dobbs,
Yep, agreed. Flacco or Desmond Ritter / Taylor Heineke?
Flacco, not even,
Oh, with Kyle
not even.
Pitts and Drake London, those big
Dude, I'd pick you over
targets.
those guys.
Flacco or Baker Mayfield?
Mayfield
I think so. It's close
had a
though for
good
me.
year. He's had a very quiet, good year. It's good that he went to one of those low market teams. I know Brady made them a big market team for a while, but they're generally low market. It's good that he could go there and get his feet back under him and
Yep,
not have the press hounding him all the time.
I could not agree more. Flacco or Derek Carr?
Flacco, 100%.
Jameis Winston.
That's my boy.
I know, I know.
That's a tough one. I probably have to go Winston because he loves to slang it.
If it's fantasy, I want Winston.
Yeah,
In real life,
probably
I
Flacco
don't
because
know.
you might not get
Maybe.
as many points, but you're going to not have 3 turnovers either.
How about this one? And this is my last one. I know there's been a lot. Flacco or Bryce Young?
Bryce Young. If I want to win, Flacco. If I want to develop my young quarterback, it's got to be Bryce Young still.
Yeah, but if you want to win right now, you go Flacco, right?
If they were like here's what I'd say: where they are in the world, I have to stick with Young. If they were 5-7, I'd say Flacco because we still have a chance of winning that awful division. If it's about winning games, it's Flacco. If it's about the future, it's Bryce Young. I
So we
think
just,
named all the teams.
yeah, 11 or 12 teams right
Raiders,
there. We would take
Giants.
Flacco
I
over.
even also I got one that'll make your heart hurt. But I'd
Let's hear
take
it.
him over that jackass Sam Howell as well. He's
I
trash.
knew it.
Trash.
I knew
Those
it.
weapons with Flacco throwing Terry McLaurin would get more than 0 targets.
Dude, this week was a week of zeros. McLaurin,
How did you
0.
go a whole game without even a target? Not a catch, even a target to Terry
I thought,
McLaurin.
I thought McLaurin had 3 targets. No,
No, I
maybe that was
thought he had
Hollywood.
none because he said something after the game about why am I even playing? I could just stay home and watch. Maybe he did, but
Maybe
maybe they weren't catchable targets.
I could be thinking of Hollywood Brown.
No,
Because
he
he
might be right.
also,
No, he did have 3, but apparently they were all uncatchable because he had 0 for 0. And after the game, he actually mentioned why do I bother? I'll just stay home and watch.
yeah, McLaurin, K. Otten, Hollywood Brown, like these are decent guys. They're wide receiver twos for you. Tight Kate Otten, you could
You know,
absolutely
I
slide in there
can't
with
really put Kate
Goddard
Otten
out.
into McLaurin in Hollywood.
No. But what I'm saying is with the bye weeks we had, plus Andrews is out and Goddard was out. I mean, Kate Otten started quite a few spots.
I got you.
Especially this time of year, getting a 0, man, that's tough. But the point of this whole exercise here is that the Browns, and obviously I would pick him to start for the Browns, they signed him off the street.
Yeah, makes no sense.
And he could easily start for at least 11 or
Should have
12
been
NFL
signed
teams right
in the
now.
second quarter of the Jets' Week 1 game. No, that's a lie. The first quarter, he got hurt 6 plays in the game. Shouldn't have even gone to the second quarter. Not only would that have made perfect sense, but he played for them last year. He knows the offense. He knows the people. He would have just been seamless, and they'd maybe be 6-6 now, 7-5.
I understand the Eagles having Marcus Mariota as Hurts backup
Yeah,
because they have
he can
similar
run.
playing styles.
Yeah,
You don't have to change your offense that much. Flacco, you'd have to completely change the offense. He's got anchors for feet. But if I'm any one of these other teams that has a pocket passer, Flacco's the what are we doing? Why was he not signed all year long?
because with the Jets, I still think it's an ego thing. I never would have thought Robert Salah would be that way. But it seems like his ego is bigger than his desire to win. And I don't know how else you could explain that one away.
I don't either. And we said Tampa. We would take Baker over
Yeah, I would
Flacco. Sure.
still
What about
bring him as
Kyle
your
Trask?
backup. Why not?
Right. Kyle Trask or Flacco? Oh, Flacco.
Yeah,
And
I
I don't think
all
you're
day
going to
long.
develop Kyle Trask into anything.
Why
It's
would
not
you
like you're holding on.
bother? He's
Right.
trash. Kyle trash.
Okay. I'm sure you have been, and this was a guy that I brought up, was it yesterday, talking about the once and done, what I'm going to do this week, given I need a couple points to make up. But
It's
Patrick
going to be
Mahomes,
so hard for me to not spill the beans here because sweet
we
Lord.
can't. You
No,
can't because
I'm
we
not going to
already
say a
know.
word. I'm not going to do that to you, but God,
Normally we
Lordy,
talk pretty openly about our lineups.
Lordy.
I'll go ahead and say I'm putting out some horses. We're putting
Some
out because
horses.
yeah,
Like the
I,
Kentucky Derby here.
most of listeners know last year I was in a pretty good spot. Really, the only thing that didn't have to as long as one guy didn't score, was it 350 points or 380 points in a 2 week span, I was going to be in. And that happened to me. And I played it safe. I saved all my guys for the playoffs, and I ended up just missing it. So this year I'm in a similar spot, but
No, you're
I'm
in a
not
much
going to.
worse spot.
Well,
Last year
similar
you
as
were
in
like 30 points ahead of the line.
right,
This year you're 30 points behind it.
but I'm at the line, right? I
Oh
mean,
yeah, you're
I'm
still within
right there.
any kind of reach. Yeah.
But we also found out pretty quickly that a lot of the folks we play against listen to the show and kind of steal our players in this once and done every now and then. So I'm keeping that close to the vest. But we did mention Mahomes, but dude, he is not Mahoming. Besides a 35-point effort against the Chargers in week 7, Patrick Mahomes hasn't scored more than 20.8 points since week 3.
Yeah.
Since week 3, besides one, whatever that was, week 7, 20.8 or less, under 21 points. That is not what Patrick Mahomes does.
No, but I'm going to be honest with you. When you look at his metrics, they're as good as ever. He just has receivers that can't catch. They lead the league in drops. And we're not talking about low value drops. We're talking about guys that are on their way to the
End zone.
end zone, dropping balls that are
Mhm.
like literally landing in their hands, things we caught in the 4th grade in the backyard. And these guys can't
Yep.
catch them. He'd maybe be leading the league in fantasy points if he had guys that could catch.
And he's also not used to having a top 10 fantasy running back with him as well.
No,
Isaiah
and I think it's
Pacheco's,
part the fact that Pacheco's been so good, but it's part because they've gone away. They're not their percentages of run plays is going up. I was reading something about that today.
and they're not scoring like they normally do. I mean,
No,
what are they, 8-4? They're not winning games like
no.
normal.
And they
It's,
don't have to. Their
you know,
defense has been so good.
very true.
But that said, nobody wants to play him in the playoffs. That's for sure.
And I know, yeah, well, I certainly don't. And I know, I don't know if you actually looked at this, but as crazy as it sounds, the Carolina Panthers can still win their division.
Yeah,
The Atlanta Falcons are the NFC South leaders right now at 6-6. The Panthers are only 5 games back, and there's enough time in the season.
it's
I'm pretty
embarrassing too.
sure that mathematically they can still do
It's
it.
absolutely embarrassing. Who
Oh,
won it last year? Tampa won it last year. Were they 8-9 or 9-8? I forget.
dude, I don't remember, man.
Well, Brady
It's
was still there, so they're either I think they were 9-8, but that I could be wrong.
Tampa won it 8-9
Okay, 8-9.
with a negative 45-point differential.
That's it. Yeah,
Oh
and it
man.
looks like we're heading down that same road again.
It
Nobody in that division wants to get better. Carolina, worst owner in sports, they're not getting any better. The Saints have mortgaged the future with Derek Carr and how his offense. He's averaging about 6 points a week anymore. I know
well,
'cause I have him.
the Saints actually have a positive point differential, +2.
Very good. They must have had a
Is it?
blowout that helped them out.
Is it very good? Oh man.
Very good
All right.
compared to probably the other teams in that division.
Well, that's true. Yeah, everyone else is negative. You ready to break down these games?
Certainly.
Last Thursday, little bit surprise for me. Dallas, I don't want to say just barely, they won by 6 points, but 41-35 against the Seahawks. The Seahawks did not go away, and they kind of put it on the Cowboys for a while. 334 yards through the air, +3 touchdowns for Geno Smith, who outscored Dak Prescott in terms of fantasy points. Zach Charbonnet had a nice game, even in a tough matchup. 16 fantasy points for you. He scored, but the story of the game was DK Metcalf, who has not been his normal self all fantasy season. In the toughest matchup he's had all year, goes 6 for 134 and not one, not two, but 3 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb on the other side of the ball continued his utter domination of the league. 12 catches, 116 and a score. Jake Ferguson got a touchdown for you. Brandon Cooks got a touchdown for you. And Tony Pollard did as well. So it's interesting how terrible Tony Pollard was all season. And then the last, was it 3 weeks now? He's been very fantasy relevant. And obviously Dak Prescott had a great game.
Yeah, I liked it. I had it in the once and done, so you got me some not great points, but I think 15.8.
Yeah, perfect.
Your boy Metcalf had more points in that game than he had in his best 2 games combined this year.
Correct.
Actually, he did by about 5 points at that. So hopefully he'll do it in the once and done in week whatever. I'll be very happy with that because I still have him left. There's only one guy I think
Oh,
played it.
gotcha.
A couple guys played Dak, huge game. This was crazy high scoring. I figured it'd be high scoring, but not this high scoring.
Yeah, and well, and I think the Cowboys and Eagles, I haven't looked yet, but I'm sure they have a pretty high point total
Oh, it's got to be up there.
this week coming up. Yeah, I bet it's pushing 50.
I
I'll try to
missed
see if I
most of
can.
this game. I wanted to see it, but I was at the little girl's Beauty and the Beast opening night,
Oh,
so
it's exciting.
I only got to really see the 4th quarter.
The opposite of exciting is the Chargers beating the Patriots 6-0. I don't even know what to say about that.
Thing is you can have a 6-0 game that's actually very exciting, like nail-bitingly exciting, like that 6-3 game years ago when the Patriots only had 3 passes. That was actually exciting because like, what is going on? But this was just trash. I saw some of the highlights, like there were no highlights. It was just
Lowlights.
ugly football. It wasn't like the defenses just were amazing. It just was awful. The weather was awful. Ramondre got hurt. Just
No
terrible football.
touchdowns. Not a touchdown from
And
anyone.
2 field goals.
Yeah, the only person that even sniffed double-digit fantasy points was Ezekiel Elliott, and that was just on
Yeah.
17 rushes and 4 catches for 40 yards.
And I think you definitely did on our Facebook. I posted that
Yeah.
stat that they had given up the lowest points in the league in the last 4 weeks and are 0-4. I also saw they are the first team since 1938 to give up less than 10 points 3 weeks in a row and go 0-3.
Wow, that's hard. That's obviously hard to do.
It's very hard to
Oh,
do. Yeah.
how embarrassing. Um, what if I told you a running back had 6 points, 6.9, and 3.7 the last 3 weeks? You excited about putting him in a lineup anywhere?
No,
Because
but
that's Austin Eckler for you, buddy.
yeah, what's going on there? Like that whole offense just looks bad. I can't wait till Staley's going and they bring in a real coach instead of a
He
high school cheerleader.
only had 3 targets. I mean, when he like last year, I mean, the targets is what Austin Eckler lives on.
It
I
is.
don't know why
But
I don't know
it's
why
not
they're
him.
not
It's
keeping.
not like any of
Something's
the
got to
other
be up.
backs are doing anything. It's the whole offense is just trash. Justin Herbert, 6.5 points. I mean, what
Can I,
was that?
I don't know. Can I tell you the most impressive thing about the Patriots in this game?
I guess you can. Yeah, please.
They scored 0 points and covered the spread.
Oh, very good.
Like at one point in time, the I think it was like 6.5.
I wonder if Belichick can't wait till it's over
How do you score 0 points and cover a spread?
by
It's
not giving
like
up more than
I
six.
mean that's crazy. Yeah, Belichick, he's got to want to get out of there.
That's a nightmare up there. Wonder who they'll
Oh,
bring
sure
in
is.
to clean up the mess.
Who knows, man? Who knows? I don't even. It's not like it's a spot anyone wants to be in. I
And the
guess the
thing is,
Patriots
he's
are
an
going to get a good
ego guy.
draft pick.
I've read something saying that he'll just retire and be done. Like, I don't think so at all. He's
I
going to
read.
go somewhere and prove that he can win without Brady.
I heard
Maybe
somewhere.
not a Super Bowl, but he's got to win because right
Dude. I
now
heard.
it's not looking real favorable for him on that whole discussion.
I heard rumors about him going to the Chargers.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That'd be something. It'd be weird seeing him not in a hoodie. What do you wear? Like a tank top, San Diego or a L.A.?
I saw that Tepper wants him and would pay him whatever he wants to go to Carolina. But the
Bryce Young
coolest
feels like a
thing would
Tom
be
Brady type quarterback, doesn't he?
if he goes back to Cleveland. Now that would be cool.
No, he won't do that with Watson. He wants nothing to do
No,
with
he
Watson.
wouldn't, but I would love to see it anyway. I'm just saying it would be
He
cool.
should have never left.
Maybe we'll go back to the Jets and give them 2 days instead of one.
No, that's oh. The Falcons and the Jets not to be outdone by the Patriots and the Chargers. I know they scored more points, but they certainly didn't happen in fantasy where there was again only one double-digit fantasy score. And let me know if you've ever even heard of Xavier Gibson, wide receiver for the Jets. He's the only
Oh
one that
yeah,
hit double digits.
yeah. There was a big thing with him in the preseason because he was returning a bunch of punts for touchdowns in the preseason. He ended up making the squad because of his special teams play, and it was part of the reason then that Corey Davis was sent packing. He's a rookie, yeah, isn't he?
Speaking of Corey Davis, where's he? What happened to
Yeah.
him? I forgot he existed until you
They
just
let
brought
him
that up.
go when Gibson made the team. They let Corey Davis go and never to resurface again.
Yeah. Wow. Tim Boyle fired. Sorry, Zach Wilson. Will you be our quarterback? No, I don't want to be. Pretty please.
See, I think that's a
Okay, I'll do
crock
it.
of shit. And
It's
Aaron Rodgers even said it's a crock of shit. Today he never said any such thing, and that's just all a bunch of crap. Because I can't believe he would be that much of a wimp that he would say, "I refuse to play. I'm afraid I'll get hurt." That's just
uh,
ridiculous.
what's hard. It's hard to believe, but if it's going to happen, it's going to happen with this. These young bucks and this
Yeah,
different
but if you do
generation
something like
coming
that
up.
and that gets out, your career's over. Because if
Yeah,
you're just going to be labeled a sissy or a wimp the rest of your career, nobody's even going to want you on their team. I think that's
yep.
all a crock, and I don't like that stuff.
The Indianapolis Colts beat the Tennessee Titans on the road, division game and a shootout, 31-28. This was a good one to watch. I know it went in overtime. I was out in an establishment watching some football, and there was a Titans fan there, and man, he was in it, buddy. I enjoy watching people really get into their sports and following their teams. My favorite part about the Colts, at least in this game and a couple others, is that Gardner Minshew does what we think every quarterback should do. He finds his best player and he just peppers it. Michael Pittman, 16 targets, 11 catches for 105. If you remember, he was my start of the week,
Hmm.
and he found the end
I
zone.
don't remember that, but I believe you.
So, well, because I almost always pick a receiver. I target the Titans.
Hmm.
They're an easy secondary to target. Alec Pierce even got a 100-yard game and a score, but most of
Good
his
for
came
him.
on a
Good for
yeah
him.
big play. That's his first touchdown of the season, I think.
Yeah, I'm
He
so
uh, he
happy.
hasn't he hasn't been doing a whole lot, but I did like him coming out. Not a ton, but a big size and speed guy. Derrick Henry was dominating, 21 for 102 and two touchdowns on the ground, almost all of which happened in the first half because he ended up getting what they thought was maybe concussed.
Yeah, a
However,
pseudo concussion
yeah, somehow he is not in the concussion protocol, so he
at
should be
all.
good to yeah, good to go. DeAndre Hopkins had a nice game, 5 for 75 and a score. And that's probably it. Tajay Spears, though, I know he came in. Eventually, Derrick Henry's not going to be the guy, and Tajay Spears looks pretty good. So I'm kind of excited to see what the future holds for him.
He played well. The big difference is he's not going to be able to hold up. It's not the same style of running. He's not going to do the same
It
things Henry does.
right. It's going to look a little different. But was he that one running back coming out that you really liked this year?
I did
That
really like him a lot.
that
He's
I
just
wasn't so high on.
yes, he just
Who was the
I,
guy you were really high on? Was it
he
him?
was yeah he was the guy that I was high on. That we both picked a guy that wouldn't be expected to
Yeah.
be some big stud in the league that we thought had a chance to actually do something. But my fear was he'd be labeled a third down back and never see the field
Okay.
on first and second down.
I thought that was going to be him, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
The your Ravens, even though they had a bye week, they won this week because folks in the division did not, including the Pittsburgh Steelers, who got whooped up pretty good by the at the time two-win Arizona Cardinals, 24-10. Kyler Murray had a terrible game. He looked awful. Definitely moving backwards. I thought his first game or two back from the injury, thought, you know what, he's showing me some stuff here. But maybe it's just the Steelers defense pressure getting to him, whatever the case may be. James Conner looked awesome in his revenge game, 100 yards on the ground plus two scores. Trey McBride is
A beast.
he's Zach Ertz, right? He's rookie Zach Ertz.
I don't even think Ertz was putting up these kind of numbers.
Maybe not his rookie year, but he reminds me. I mean, he's a great receiving option for
Nice
them.
segue, by the way, since was sent
Yes,
packing or left to
he
go packing.
yeah, he was, and I hope he goes to the Eagles
I hope he
because
goes to the Ravens, but idiot Harbaugh says there's no need for him. Oh,
already,
really? You didn't just lose your all
already
pro tight end 2 weeks ago? What do you mean there's no need?
I know that doesn't make any sense to me. And then the Steelers, man, they were bad. There, nobody's Kenny Pickett's out. Mitchell Trubisky's going to be starting.
Best thing that could have happened to him.
Yeah, probably the rest of the year. Deontay Johnson, George Pickens. Pickens started. He ended up with 4 for 86, but I think he had 3 for 70 something in the first half or first quarter, maybe
It's
even.
so hit or miss with him.
I know. And then Deontay Johnson got a late score. Otherwise, that was going to be an absolutely miserable day for him. But honestly, uh, Air, Kyler Murray, outside of him, the running game looked great for the Cardinals. But man, if you're
We
not Trey
were
McBride,
just
it's
talking
something.
last week how down we were on James Conner now, and then boom, he goes out for $105 and 2 TDs.
He looked spry, man. I don't know
Yeah,
how much of that game you watched,
easily
but
the
he
best
looked
player on the field.
explosive and everything. Yeah, good
Homecoming
for
game
him.
for him was awesome. Um, and for those who have him, Najee's looking more and more like he's not going to play tomorrow night. So it could be a big Jalen Warren week, which I don't like because I don't have him.
I do, but I don't know, man. I got
Tough
some guys
against
I
the
want to play
Pats.
instead.
Tough
Got some
against the
guys I want
Pats.
to. Plus, it's Thursday. We hate
Down
Thursday
everybody.
games.
The one thing I like about a Thursday night player, the final week of like say a once and done league, is if you have a guy who does well, you can back off a little with other guys. If you have a guy who goes
True.
out and really shits the bed, okay, maybe I do have to throw freaking Stephon Diggs in place of
Right.
Josh Downs.
Right. The Miami Dolphins did exactly what everyone in the world thought they were
Yes,
going to
sir.
do. 45-15 over the Commanders. Tua had a great game. Tyreek Hill had a great game. Raheem Mostert did fine. He found the end zone, scored for you. Devon Achane, awesome game. Of course, Jalen Waddle, 5 for 52. I don't. I hate him.
Same
I hate
thing
him.
to me in week 7.
I hate him so much. He's going to have to probably be my keeper again in my league of record. I kept him this year as a 6th round pick. So this next year will be a 4th round pick. Do you think he's going to go in the 4th round?
I
I
mean,
don't know
yeah,
what the.
but man, I just
I know. I know.
there's no better. You don't have any better options than that.
I don't. I'll have to see. I don't know,
Funny because
man.
after last year, he was at what number 7 run wide receiver. Now is he even in the top
Yeah.
30?
I thought I had the best keeper in the entire league getting him in the 6th round.
Yeah,
Turns out he's terrible. He's a wide receiver 3 for fantasy.
yeah.
Um,
I don't get it
and
either.
then yeah, that's it for Commanders. Nobody. Don't. They're
Yeah. The only
terrible.
thing you can say about them is definitely Ron Rivera's gone because ownership came out after the game said, yeah, we're not going to make any changes in season. So he's going to be fired the Monday after the season ends.
That was specific wording for sure.
Yep.
Moving on, the Detroit Lions, man, they were up 21-0 about 4 minutes into this game. And I thought, here we go. What a route this is going to be. But the Saints, credit to them, fought back even with losing Derek Carr, although that was probably more helpful than it was hurtful. 33-28 was the final there. Goff was kind of ho-hum. David Montgomery found the end zone. This dude he has a floor of 6.1 points
Yep.
because he's going to get a 1 yard touchdown no matter what. There's nothing anyone can do about it. And then you just work from there. If you definitely need an absolute 6 points, probably around 10, he's your guy. He's got a ceiling to him as well, but
No, he's a
he's
smaller version of Allstott or Bettis.
I love it, man. Sam Laporta was the star of the show, though. 9 catches, 140 yards. That is a Lions rookie tight end record, plus a touchdown. And then for the Saints, it's Alvin Kamara and Olave. I was a little worried coming back from a concussion, but 5 for 119, so that was fine. And gosh, Taysom Hill, what a jerk! I cannot stand him.
Yeah,
But he got 14 points. So if you do Taysom Hill in as your tight end, you're all right. But give
he's
me
a
Kamara, man, all day. 26 fantasy points. He's the guy. 2 touchdowns on the ground. Had another touchdown called back, or I guess they said it wasn't a touchdown, although I kind of thought it was. And then Taysom Hill stole it from him. But they also had 6 for 58.
who did? Oh
Kamara,
yeah,
six.
receiving, yeah, he did.
Yeah,
It's funny with the Laporta, he had more catches than the rest of the team combined, which is really weird because you have Amon Ra on there who usually has about 10 by himself, but he only had 2. Still scored. An interesting game. I hope that Derek Carr doesn't play this week so I can play Winston.
let him air it out, man.
Yeah, I love the guy. Well, I'm not saying once it's done in my league of record. I
Oh,
have to
gotcha.
go 2-0. The guy above me has to go 0-2. I have Carr and Winston. He's got a lower floor, but also a way higher ceiling. So I gotta hedge my bets on this one.
Kevin, I'm going to tell you there was a receiver in the NFL who had 77 receiving yards and a touchdown. 17 fantasy points. Who was it? I'll give you a hint. He does it every week.
Oh, like who's our guy? No, it's not Mike Evans. It's Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Only 2 catches this week, but 77 and a score. It's so great. It's,
Whoa, 17-7's his highest of the year.
I know, but but barely, right? I think it
Oh
was like,
yeah, he had a 16-6, a 15-10.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. I
Matches.
love it.
He got his highest point total of the year.
It's great. It's good stuff. And that was it for Denver, man. Javante was a letdown, although Houston's defense has been a little bit better. But Houston did win the game 22-17 over the Broncos. CJ Stroud, not his normal game, But I mean, as a rookie,
Good.
you got 274 and a touchdown. You're like, oh, that's a pretty good game for a rookie. But with the what Stroud's been doing, you're kind of a letdown with that. Damian Pierce, welcome back. Devin Singletary took a back seat to Mr. Pierce, who almost doubled Singletary's carries, which is odd because if you've been paying any attention, Singletary's been the guy for a few weeks. Pierce was out with an injury, but he comes back and takes over the show. And then, dude, all right, we were talking. I don't know if it was you or somebody else. We were talking about rookie quarterbacks, Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, and they were like, "Yeah, but Bryce Young has no weapons." And I don't think it was you. And I said, "Right, but before this year, Nico Collins was a nobody. Robert Woods
He's
is a
not a
veteran
non-factor.
who can't run down the
Yeah.
field in a straight line. Tank Dell's a super undersized 160-pound rookie. No
Noah
one's ever heard of
Brown's the Cowboys throw off.
Brevin Jordan. Right. CJ Stroud made these guys. Nico Collins just went 9 for 191 and a touchdown. These guys are all relevant, and it's because of Stroud. So you put Stroud on the Panthers with Thielen and John. What do you think Jonathan Mingo would be doing right now if Stroud was selling the ball?
Better than what he's doing right now with Bryce
Boy,
Young, that's for sure.
it'd certainly be tough
Could
to
be
do
much worse.
worse. I know. I'm telling you, this Stroud's the real deal, man. I love it.
Yeah, this is going to be an offense to reckon with for years potentially. How
Oh
do you
yeah, and
feel now with Tank Dell going out? Would you play Noah Brown against the Jets, knowing that there's almost no chance that Sauce will be anywhere near him?
they got to put Sauce on Nico, and that
They
should
have
open things up big
to.
time for Brown.
Because does
Big
Sauce
time.
ever cover anybody in the slot? Or is he pretty much
I
he's pretty much always outside, isn't he?
I can't comment on like I have no statistics to back it up, but I know watching Jets games, I haven't seen it very often, if at all.
Because I'm so considering playing him in the once and done.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah, gotta play somebody.
The Speaking of the Panthers, they lost yet again. Good for them, except oh wait, you gave up your draft pick, dummies. 21-18 to division foe, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Chuba Hubbard, monster game. We'll be hearing about him a little later on with his 22 fantasy points, 25 carries, 104 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Adam Thielen, man, where have you been? You were so great, and they were scheming every play for you. And now it's been 3, 4 weeks, and it's just crickets from you, buddy. I need more than 4 fantasy points. For the Bucks, Rashad White does his thing. 20 carries again, 84 yards, a touchdown every single week. He's getting the work. Love that. And then outside of Mike Evans, though, that was it. 162 and a score. I actually thought about doing Mike Evans this past week in the once and done, but held on to him. Should have let him go.
How about Godwin? How is he just completely fallen off the map? Like he's non-existent.
Yeah, but I think he was fighting an injury, right? Wasn't he? They
Maybe
weren't
for
even
the
sure
whole
he was going to
season, but
play.
he's only been in double digits 3 times, and one of those was 10. He hasn't broke 15.4 all year. It's just
Yeah, well,
bad.
he didn't have a catch, right?
I do know that.
He scored a touchdown, but it was a
It's a
a
rush.
rush for 19 yards.
Let me ask you this. How do you feel about Chuba against the porous Saints run defense this week?
We're gonna talk about Chuba a little later in the show.
Indeed, we are. Damn it.
Yes. Yes.
Again.
I don't have him in the once and done, or I'd probably play him this week.
I do have him.
You playing
And I'm
him?
very seriously considering playing him over at the end or ETN in your world.
Well, you mean the real world? Yeah, I would. Why not?
Dude, it's a frightening prospect that you are now the representative of the real world.
Yes, I know. Trust me. And I live here, man. It's not good.
Woo!
Oh, all right, man. Let's get this over with. The 49ers absolutely smashed my Philadelphia Eagles. Brock Purdy, almost 40 fantasy points, 4 touchdowns through the air, 300 yards.
Odds-on favorite to win the Vegas favorite to win the MVP now.
Yeah, I did see that. Well, and I
What
think it
the?
was, and then Hertz and Dak, I think, are tied for second. Well, but look, Purdy's next week. If he, as soon as he flops, though, He's
I
going to
know
be thrown to the
it's so
wolves.
ridiculous because especially the jackasses at ESPN that week he struggled a little bit. They were calling for his ouster. This is the guy that'll
Yeah.
stop them from winning the Super Bowl. This guy's trash. Is he just a product of Shanahan's system? Like, and now they're all the same ones kissing his butt.
He doesn't have staying power. That's his deal.
Hmm. Looks pretty good to me.
I agree. Christian McCaffrey also looked good. Although
A
it's funny, you
down
see
game,
Christian.
only 20.8
I,
points.
I was just getting ready to say that he gets you almost 21 points. You're like, ho hum. Could have done a little better there. But Debo Samuel, almost 40 fantasy points himself. Couple rushes, rushing touchdown, and 2 receiving touchdowns, 4 for 116. Get this guy the ball in open space and
Yeah.
just get out of the way.
All nice
Give him,
plays. They really were. Because I watched the
yeah,
majority of this game, but the Eagles just didn't tackle. I mean,
no,
if all you're going to do is go, hit somebody, a guy his size and speed running by you, it's not real often he's going to go down.
right.
That was ugly.
Yeah, I know. Devonta Smith had 20 points, 9 for 96 and a touchdown. I don't think he's had 100 yards receiving all year. Um, I'm not going to look it up right now, but I'm pretty sure he's
One
like been.
twice.
Oh, has he gone over
131
100?
against the Vikes,
Okay,
106 against the Bills. But
because I
that's
know he's been really close several
99,
times.
99, 96.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so I'm good. I'm glad he's gone over 100. AJ Brown was fun. I mean, 8 for 114 is great, but 15 fantasy points. You want to see a touchdown in there.
Yeah.
And Hurts was okay, 23 points, whatever. Besides Devonta Smith, I think you were looking for more from all of these guys. Definitely more than 19 total points for the team total. Uh,
You see Swift
man,
get rocked.
yeah,
God
everybody
bless.
got rocked.
He got freaking pummeled.
This was this game was reminiscent of like watching the Chiefs and Travis Kelce when it's like, how is this guy so open? The Niners kept running like comeback routes and like little crosses, and it's like, well, there's nobody within 3-4 yards of this guy. Who are we covering?
They look completely
Oh,
confused, no pressure on
yes.
Purdy at all. And then
Except
McCaffrey was just bursting through the hole, not even getting touched there, 2 yards downfield. It was just
have you seen
smack.
that such a difference between the first quarter and the rest of the game? Because if the first quarter, at the end of the first quarter, the Niners had -4 total yards.
Yeah.
They had like 2 3 and outs, and the Eagles had held the ball for like, I think they possessed it for 12 minutes or something like ridiculous. And then the second quarter comes in, and that was it, buddy.
Well, we texted right after the game that if you're going to lose, get smashed because that's the biggest wake up call there is. They were straight
Yes.
embarrassed. They weren't beaten.
Yeah.
They were embarrassed.
And you
Best
did
thing
text
that
me.
happened to them.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. You're like, this is the best thing that happened to the Eagles because, hey, look, technically you're the top dog, but you got some work to do.
Yeah, it didn't look like it last week. Now you got another tough one rolling into Dallas now.
Oh, yeah.
Still got the number
I,
one now, but you need that win this week.
and I think this is the last one because the Eagles had that 5 game death stretch
Yeah, I think it
where it
is.
was it was tough. And I think this is the last one. And getting out of there with one, maybe 2 losses is,
Yeah,
a
after
net positive,
this,
a net gain.
it's at Seahawks, home versus Giants and Cards, then at Giants.
Yeah,
So
I'm
they
not
should go 4-0 there.
should. Yeah.
Should.
All right. So the Cleveland Browns lost to the Rams. I don't know who the Rams are, and I feel like I've said that like 4 or 5 times this year. They'll go out and get smashed by someone, and then they'll go in and drop 36 against one of the best defenses in the league. Um, Flacco, look, you could do worse than 16 fantasy points. You don't want it from your quarterback, but a guy off the street, first
Got
game
it, yeah.
in, 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah. So the thing, the thing when you bring in any new quarterback is you got to figure out who he's looking for, right? Because a lot of folks were, all about David Njoku, and he's getting a bunch of targets. He still had 6 targets this game, but Harrison Bryant just happened to be the tight end to get it this one. So that's something to keep your eye on if you need, if you're starting Njoku or whatever. Jerome Ford was fine, 12 fantasy points. That's whatever. But Amari Cooper's probably not going to play,
Most
concussion.
likely not. Yeah, it's looking
Right. So
dire.
we'll see. And then on the other side of the ball, Stafford was great, but I refuse to start him ever again,
Yeah,
at
because I
least for
don't
this
trust
season.
any
No.
given week that he's going to go out there, get
Right.
just smashed on his first drop back and be out because he got a hangnail during the tackle.
So his last 2 games, 25.8, and this
It's
past week,
sick.
27.1.
And it
Let
looks
me give
good
you
too. He looks great. Looks like
here's the
10
his
years ago.
every total for the other games this year. 12, 13, 10, 15, 17, 12, 13, 8, 9. I'm not starting him.
Can't. Can't do
No.
it.
He has as many 20-point games as he does single digit games.
Yeah, can't do it.
Puka is a great football player. My gosh, they got to get the ball in his hands. Cooper Kupp, who's the number 2 receiver for the Rams, as weird as that sounds, but it's true. And then Kyron Williams did well, 18 points, although it did not start off well for him, but he ended up finding the end zone and stuff. So
He gets
you're good
paid.
with
Yeah.
Kyron Williams. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
little shaky.
It's looking like Puka might. I don't know if he'll be out this week, but at least limited.
Well, we'll see. I mean, he left the game, looked like he was done, like done, broken collarbone, broken ribs, something. Did you hear his quote?
I did
He
not.
said something like my ribs were messed up and my shoulder wasn't in right, but I'm good. And he ended up going back in and playing again.
Oh, he's got the Ravens this week, so they're going to need him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the Green Bay Packers. I also don't know who they are. Beat the Kansas City. I don't know who the Kansas City Chiefs are. I don't know who anyone is anymore, Kevin. 27-19 against the Chiefs. Mahomes. We already talked about him not Mahoming. Pacheco, 110 on the ground plus a score. Love that. And then I don't know, Travis Kelce, 4 for 81. I don't know what you're doing here, buddy. It makes me a little frightened to have him on my team in the once and done, when to play him, if to play him, because they're not clicking at all. On the other side of the ball, Jordan Love is clicking 20, almost 25 fantasy points. Your boy, you've been talking about all week. They basically all the points went to Christian Watson, 7 for 71 and 2 touchdowns.
You want to tell her? Or do you want me to?
Go ahead, buddy. I know
I
you
had
love
him in
talking about
all
it so
week, and
much.
then I decided because Snead would probably be on him exclusively, I should probably not do it. And then some jackass bearded friend of mine completely corroborated, like, yeah, there's no way I'd play him. That's a good call. Take him out. So I did and took out his 24.1 points for Josh Downs' amazing 2.9, while Alec Pierce is just lighting up the freaking scoreboard.
Did you notice? Did Snead shadow him?
He did not the whole game, but even if he did, even when he was home, the dude was unstoppable. 7 catches, 9 targets, 71 yards, and he didn't even play the whole game.
Yeah, is he playing this week?
It could have really been big.
Is he playing?
There's almost no word out of it. One thing
Okay, good.
says there's little chance. Another one says, well, he was smiling on the sideline, so it can't be too bad. But can you play a guy like that? Because you don't know. First snap, he runs around, doesn't even get a target, and pulls up lame again. So how do you play him this week? Because I think he's actually he's got a good start this week. Aren't they playing somebody pathetic? Yeah, the Giants Monday night.
Uh,
God, I'd love to play them there. They're the worst against receivers the last 4 weeks, but I can't. You can't.
yeah, and you said Sunday night.
Monday night. There's 2 Monday night games this week.
Well, that's even worse because
Yeah, because
unless
if you need
you
those
better have,
points,
yeah,
they might be.
you
So
better
not
have somebody
only
there.
did I lose out on 22 points, it would have been a shoe in for the playoffs. I'd also be in first place now by like 5 points. Not that I don't give a crowd that. It's
Right.
a little $100 bonus for winning the regular season, but still, it just would have been made it so much easier to make the playoffs. But that's the thing with you and I. Our guts are right a lot, but we're too stupid to ever follow them. We listen to the little jackass devil on our shoulder and change things up and screw ourselves.
I like to have statistical information to back up my stuff. I never make okay. I don't want to say I never make bad choices because I make bad choices all the time, but it's never it there's fact based. My decisions are always fact based. I almost never just say, "Oh, you know what? I know all the stats tell me no, but I'm going to say yes." That's just not how I roll.
Me
Um,
either, but I felt good about
right.
Watson, but I talked myself out of it. I mean, all you did was cry. It's my decision. I said it. You agree? Yeah, that makes sense. So I did it, and
Yeah,
boom, it may cost me.
because if that's what he wanted to do, I mean, if that's what they chose to do, then that was going to make it some pretty tough sledding for Christian
Yeah.
Watson.
You see that second touchdown? That was a hell of a catch. I don't even know how he caught it.
Yeah, but he can drop balls that are thrown right to his face.
It's a conundrum.
Well, I tell you what, though, if he can stay healthy, I'm excited to see how his career progresses because
Yeah,
he's
because
got some
we both
serious
loved
talent.
him out of college. He missed the
Loved him.
first half of the year. People scoffed at us because you and I both had him as like our like top two receivers coming out of college when everyone's like,
Yep.
yeah, North Dakota State. Yeah, right. We'll see how that works out. And then second half of the year, he was like the number one receiver in football for 6 or 7 weeks straight. He was I think,
Yep.
the number one fantasy receiver. He scored either one or two touchdowns in 6 weeks in a row. And then this year he starts
Monster.
off slow again, hurt again. Now he's making a nice little comeback and he gets hurt again.
Yeah.
It's a shame. Sucks.
Well, what else sucks is Trevor Lawrence may not be playing this week. We'll see.
What a great
Unsure.
game to watch, though.
Yeah. 34-31. Bengals barely beat out the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jake Browning, backup quarterback, comes in. How about 32 for 37 passing? Pretty impressive there for 350 yards. Only one touchdown though, which was a little bit of a letdown. He did get you a rushing score though, as did Joe Mixon, got you two of them. Plus, Mixon went 6 for 49 through the air. Jamar Chase stole the show though, 11 for almost 150 plus a score. Makes you feel better about starting him in your leagues. I know, Joe Burrow goes down, everyone's worried, but hey, looking like you're good to go.
And
Trevor Lawrence had
75 of it was on one play.
right.
So we can say that, but hell, he still then had 10 for
10 for
74.
75.
So
Right.
I'll take that too.
Yeah. Look, yeah, right. So definitely build up your
Yeah, it wasn't
confidence.
just that one play that did it all.
Right. Trevor Lawrence before he went out, 22 for 29 for 258 and 2. This was a not a whole lot of defense going on here.
No.
ETN 11 for 45, not great, but he did get a touchdown
4
there.
yards of carry.
Yeah, right. But again, not great.
Yeah, not
And then
great,
he
but
added
not
4 for
bad.
34. Evan Ingram, the
Woo!
leading receiver,
Mm.
9 for 82 and a touchdown.
Feels so
And then
good to
for
root for that guy now. We hated it for so long. Now he got me my highest tight end total of the entire season.
And I'm a big fan of making sure things even out and we stay equal. So go ahead and talk to me about Calvin Ridley.
Oh, Lord. Why? So why do you got to be like that? So in my league of record, I went in the week down 7.8. That's all I need out of Ridley. Other guy had nothing
Oh,
to tie the guy that's in my head in my league or in my division. He ends up getting 5.3 points. He drops that wounded duck for 43 yards. He then has another 43-yard catch late in the game, but phantom holding calls brought that back. So I didn't get that. He gets tackled on the one when he's getting ready to score. Any one of these things would have happened. I'd be tied for the division lead going into the final week and be good. And I also had him in the once and done. So he put the screws to me there too. But he's another one. He can make the most ridiculous catches, but if you hand him the ball, there's at least a 40% chance it's going to be on the ground at your feet. Hand it to him. He's
it's
going to drop it.
it's
It's
so
weird.
what?
It's uncanny.
Yes. I just don't know how NFL players can that's their game, but
I don't know why they don't throw to him. Watching the game, he's open on like 4 out of every 5 plays, like wide open. I don't know why he isn't targeted more. But he isn't. I guess they want to spread the wealth. And of course, Christian Kirk done for the year. Did you see that
yeah,
play? All he did was throw behind him. He just turned and just popped a hernia or popped a groin, did something, no contact, just turning around. That's like
I
some
hate
70-year-olds do when they're walking down the banister or something. Not
I
pro
hate
athletes.
I hate that, man. I really do.
You could tell right away he was done. And did you see the cool thing on Facebook and Instagram thing today with Trey Hendrickson?
No.
I'm not a big religious man. I don't pretend to be. There may be a God, there may not. I'm all for whatever anybody wants to believe. But after when Lawrence got hurt, he was the first guy whenever and helped him up. And when he went straight back down, dude just got down right beside him on one knee, took his helmet off, and prayed for him. I mean, and I'm just saying it's a cool thing. It's nice
That's
to
cool.
actually
Yeah.
see an NFL player who doesn't sit there and laugh in his face while he's doing or taunt him when he knows a guy from the other team's hurt. To me, great sportsmanship. So I'm giving him a thumbs up.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Now I I'm looking at the Chiefs' remaining schedule right now. It's not too difficult,
No,
but
it's
they have the
not.
Bills coming up this week, so that could be trouble. Then it's the Patriots. You got to think they're going to win there, even though it's in New England and the defense is playing great. But you know they're not going to lose them. They're going to beat the Raiders at home the next week. Then they have the Bengals and finish out against the Chargers. And the Chargers could be who they were against New England, or they could go out and drop 45 on you. You
When
never
those
really
two
know.
teams play, the records don't matter. It's just that old cliche.
Right. So let's say they get a loss to the Bills, the Bengals, and the Chargers. It's probably not going to happen. It could, and then the Chiefs are sitting there with 7 losses.
Maybe
I mean, it's in the realm of
feasible,
possibilities.
feasible. The hardest
Right.
schedule, remaining schedule in the NFL, unfortunately, is the Ravens. Rams, Jags, Niners, Dolphins, Steelers. Every single team they have left, I think, has a winning record. Are the Rams 6-6 or 7-5 at this point?
The Rams are 6-6.
Okay, but seem like a team with a winning record because they're hot right now. But yeah, everybody else, Jags, Niners, Dolphins, Steelers, that's gonna be tough. Miami's got a tough road ahead. The number one seed in the AFC could end up having 5-6 losses.
You,
All
you
these teams
have
could be losing.
well, what's crazy is within the number one seed, you have 8 teams within 2 games of the
Yeah.
number one seed. Because the
There's,
Colts, the Texans are
yeah.
both 7-5. The Steelers and Browns are both 7-5.
And with those tough
That's
schedules with all those current number ones, those division leaders right now, dude, you
yeah,
literally could have a number, which we love for things like, say, a once and done league. So it means everybody's playing for something meaningful in
right.
week 18. Because for those of you who've never done a once and done, week 18 counts. That's the final week, not 17, because the fact that a team might be resting players matters. So it has to go into your strategy. Like it looked like who would play Hurts in the final week? Because it looked like he probably wouldn't play at all, or he maybe play one series. Well,
Right.
maybe now all of a sudden that doesn't look like that might be the case, but so I love it. We want competition. We don't want half the stars in the league sitting on the bench.
Yeah, yeah, right. You don't want week 8, even as a casual fan, if you don't
Yeah,
do
you don't want that. Yeah, I don't
fantasy.
want to see the third stringers playing.
Right.
Who wants to see that crap? I want to see meaningful games.
Yeah. I don't need week 2 of the preseason all over again.
No, it's just it's silly, but and it's part of the good thing. I know I don't like the whole 7 teams in the playoffs, but it's good because there is more jockeying, more positioning, so there are less teams just saying calling it quits and saying, oh, we'll accept where we are and move on.
Yeah. All right, sir. Let's move on to our starts of the week, unless you have anything else to add there.
No, I'm good, sir.
I believe I went first last week, so let's hear who you got for your quarterback start of the week.
I think this was a pretty much no-brainer. You may have picked him as well. I'm going with Mr. Justin Fields at home against the Lions, the fourth most points to quarterbacks the last 4 weeks. Just gave up a boatload of points last week. If he can't get it done here, then maybe it's time for the Bears to really start thinking about that number one pick.
And Fields himself also dropped 21 points against this Lions team 3 weeks ago when they played each other. And I have that stat in my back pocket because he is my quarterback start of the week.
What a surprise.
Didn't see that coming.
Well, I wasn't going to take Dak. The Washington's off. I'm not, as much as we love Flacco, I'm not taking him.
He's
So
he's in the running for my
Fields.
once and done lineup, Justin Fields.
Oh, I played him earlier in the year. Did well. He
It'd be
got
a
me
bit
20 some points.
well, you're right. That's the ultimate gamble there because he could get me 6 or he
It
could get
is
me
right, yeah, because
36.
he's one. We
I
may have
know.
discussed this before. There's a handful of players in this top tier of super low floor, ridiculously high ceiling. It could be anywhere. So
Yep,
yeah, you're taking a real risk, but no risk, no reward, right?
that's right. All right, who's your running? Well, never mind. Go ahead. Tell us. Talk to us about Chuba Hubbard.
Well, I took Chuba, obviously. Saints giving up the seventh most running backs the last 4 weeks. Got literally ripped up last week. They are awful. And I could see Winston giving them the ball at least 3 times on their own side
Yeah,
of the field,
if he's playing
on
a whole
his
game.
side of the field, and maybe lead to a couple touchdowns. I'm seriously considering playing him. It's as crazy as it sounds. I'm thinking about playing Zeke Elliott and Chuba Hubbard over Brees Hall and Etienne.
I would
It
definitely play
seems
Chuba.
insane, but that's
Yeah.
really what I might be looking at tomorrow. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can pull the trigger.
Well, he's got 15 points 2 weeks ago, 22 this past week, and a combined 44 touches over the last 2 weeks. And they got a new coaching staff, and he seems to be the guy that they like.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
He's your
Risky.
wide
I
receiver.
got the thing is for those of you listening who don't know, I
You
I'm way ahead of 13th place. So me and Bob are in very different spots. So we're sitting here talking like we're in the same boat. We aren't. I'm being babyish, but he's been in the same boat before. It doesn't matter how big your lead is or how far behind you are in the last week, you're worried. It's just the way it is. And you know that one bad decision might cost you the playoffs. So we are in very different spots, but at the same time, I don't want to throw up the 60 burger you were talking about and end up missing out altogether. So you got to be so careful.
I think Chuba's safe.
Yeah, I
I
do
think
too.
you can.
I
I
think
think
he's
you
good
got
for
it.
70 yards and a touchdown, at least. And that's all I
I
need
was
this week. If I can get that from each player, I'm good.
I was just say bare minimum, you're going to get double digits from Chuba.
Yeah.
Bare minimum, you're going to get 10, 11, 12. All right, who's your wide receiver?
Well, as you know, I enjoy pairing wide receivers with quarterbacks.
Okay.
So I went with Mr. DJ Moore. Lions get up the fourth most points to wide receivers the last 4 weeks. What's not to like at home?
DJ Moore's a top 10 receiver, so I try to shy away from
I
them.
don't like starting him either, but he's also roller coastery. He's had some huge weeks and some small weeks, so he's not a guy that I can trust every week to go out there. He's again a low floor, high ceiling guy. So there's weeks where he goes out and shits the bed.
How does Webster feel about roller coastery? Is that in there anywhere?
I'll look it up right now. Don't toy with my emotions.
I am going with the wide receiver 26 on the season in half point PPR. He has a home game against the Houston Texans,
No
and they're
results found for roller coastery.
yeah,
Pardon my
sorry,
interruption.
it's good. Houston has the 11th worst defense against wide receivers the last 4 weeks, and Zach Wilson will be back in the lineup for the Jets and should force feed my start of the week, Garrett Wilson, with targets. How do you feel about that one?
You're going to have to repeat that whole thing because I'm sitting here reading the definition of roller coaster, and it can be used as an adjective in and of itself. You don't have to use roller coastery, just roller coaster.
Well, there you go.
Now, could you tell me you're picking? Was it Garrett Wilson?
It was
What is
Zach
wrong with
Wilson's
you?
Zach
Have you
Wilson's going to
lost
be
your damn
back.
mind?
Going to pepper him with targets. Be all right.
He peppered him with two catches for -1 yards a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
Going to
and
be
a
all right.
fumble ended with negative points.
We're going to be all right against Houston, my friend. We're going to be all right.
What's wrong with you?
Well, I'm certainly not going to tell the people to
You
start a top
talk
10
about all these
receiver.
teams, you don't even know them anymore. I don't know you anymore.
That's fine. That is a-okay.
I'm all for some of your crazy picks, but man, I can't get behind Garrett Wilson. I want to because I love the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But man, Tuna cusses him up left and right all week long now anymore.
That's all right. I got faith. This is going to be his fourth double-digit point outing of the year.
Would you venture to play him in the once and done?
As of right now, I have him in. Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
For those listening, it's off. It's not often
It's
I'm
not often.
here.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I can see playing him, but calling him the play of the week. Wow, man, that's
Ballsy.
Ballsy.
Who's your tight end, sir?
Wait, hold on real quick. Ballsy.
Oh, no. Okay. Who is your tight end of the week?
Holy, boldly aggressive or courageous. It's a real word, balls.
Yeah, yes, I use real words, unlike you, roller coaster.
BAWL/ZEE. Ballsy.
ZEE.
Well, it's BALLSY. I was reading the pronunciation.
Oh.
A ballsy gal who isn't afraid of anyone. That's there. I am flabbergasted.
Oh.
I know that's a real word. I have to look that one up. Boy, you threw me for a loop now, this whole Garrett Wilson thing. Now, where are we? Tight end?
Tight end, yeah. Also, we're smack dab in the middle of a
I'm
vocab
picking
lesson.
somebody that some people might pick anyway, but he burned me and he burns the Ravens because he has all this talent, but he's really not very good. Isaiah Likely against the Rams, 8th worst against tight ends recently. But there's just something about the guy that's just not right. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
The day the
He's
day
like
I
bad
start,
in spite of himself.
yeah, the day I start Isaiah Likely will be the day I start Matt Stafford.
Yeah, he's like some spark guy, right? You're in any given week, like last year, he might throw up 23 points, but he
Yep.
also might throw up 0.9, which is what he got me in week one.
Yeah.
But I'm playing
I'm going.
this week against the Rams, who give up a lot of points to tight ends.
Yeah, I'm going with Gerald Everett. Very rough year so far. He's only tight end 23, but Denver's the second worst defense against tight ends over the last couple of weeks. Denver should be able to put up some points against the Chargers defense as well. Herbert doesn't have a receiving option behind Keenan Allen, really. Eckler's not doing it. Obviously, Mike Williams is out. Quentin Johnson isn't doing it. So why not Everett, who should be wide open in the middle of the field?
Yeah, they're poor against it. I had a runner up there. I thought about putting in Cole Kmet because Detroit's, I think, 10th worst against
You can't have that many Bears, Kevin.
well, I went with Likely, but the dude, that could be one of those scoring games again, the 41-38 game. It really could.
Let's say our defense on the count of three. One, two, three. Houston.
Houston.
They're playing the Jets. And I know I got Garrett Wilson in there, but I did that kind of on purpose, actually, Kevin, because we had a conversation of this before we get out of here. Tell me why it's okay that I could start Garrett Wilson against the Houston defense that I would start.
Well, Garrett Wilson against them is a little different than what we talked about because points are, if he gets points, yeah, Houston loses points, so that's sort of moot. What we really discuss even more is like with a quarterback, because if they
Sure.
get the interception, yeah, they're getting 2 points. Your quarterback's losing 2, but it ends up moot. So you're not really hurting yourself, but you're not helping yourself. It's a little different with the receiver, but I still like what you're doing because the points you get for Wilson are not as are far more worth it than are going to count more towards you than the points you lose when a defense gives up some points. So it's he can still have a good game and Houston still have a good
Right.
game even without a defensive touchdown.
Right. And let's say that Garrett Wilson fumbles. On the
Well, in
off
that case,
chance
yeah,
that
it would be
happens,
right.
then you're breaking even, right?
Even
But Houston, Garrett Wilson could have 5 catches for 75 yards and a score,
yeah,
but Houston could also have 3 interceptions and a fumble recovery,
they could.
and they're completely unrelated.
That might be
Um,
the only score. So
right, right,
I
exactly.
yeah, I'm a lot of people would go against that, but those are the people that we take money from, so it's all good.
There we go. All right, sir. That's all I got. Anything else from you before we get out of here?
Again, the schedule. Watch it, people. You got only 2 teams on bye, the last two, Cardinals and Washington, but 2 Monday night games: Titans, Dolphins, Giants, Packers, and they both start at the exact same time. I'm not sure what the purpose of this is, but I guess there's
They
something.
did it earlier. They did it earlier in the year, and
I
it's
know, but why not
so
stagger them?
maddening.
Stagger the
They did.
games.
That's what I'm
I'm all
saying.
for
They did
that, but why film
right
at the same time? So you
earlier
want to
this year.
lose
They did the
viewers?
same thing. They did the same thing earlier this year, the same time, kickoff, everything. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it's a little bit odd. And the Green Bay, New York games on ABC, Tennessee, Miami's on ESPN. It's very weird, very weird, very weird.
Yeah. All
What
right,
I will
folks.
say, everybody, is good
Oh,
luck in most people's final regular season
yeah.
week. Unless you're playing against me, then I wish you nothing but injured players and terrible luck.
Awesome. Thank you all for listening. Please make sure you check us out on Facebook, Spotify, and YouTube. Get your Bell on Football podcast. He's Kevin. I'm Bobby. See you in a week.
See ya.